Welcome to Shadow of History, mysterious, dark, and untold stories from world history. Today, we're diving into one of the most bizarre and intriguing tales of ancient alchemy and its dangerous consequences. The story centers around a king whose obsession with alchemy led to a tragic and mysterious death. This is the tale of King Mithridates VI of Pontus, a ruler who sought to achieve immortality through alchemy, only to meet a fate that involved drinking gold, quite literally. His story blurs the line between legend and reality and raises questions about the lengths to which a ruler might go in pursuit of power and eternal life. Mithridates VI, often referred to as Mithridates the Great, was born in 132 BCE in what is now modern-day Turkey. He was the king of Pontus, a powerful kingdom located on the southern shores of the Black Sea. Mithridates is remembered for his long reign, his military campaigns against Rome, and his fascination with alchemy, which would ultimately lead to a bizarre and tragic end. His life is marked by a series of extraordinary achievements and equally unusual pursuits, including his obsession with developing a universal antidote to poison, a pursuit that was rooted in both personal fear and a desire to protect his reign. Mithridates' fear of poisoning was not entirely unfounded. During his early life, he experienced several attempts on his life, and he suspected that his enemies, both within his court and beyond, might try to poison him. The most famous attempt came from his mother, who is said to have conspired to have him killed so that she could seize power. This early exposure to the dangers of poison left an indelible mark on Mithridates' days, and he became obsessed with the idea of protecting himself from such threats. In his quest for safety and immortality, Mithridates turned to the ancient practice of alchemy. Alchemy was a precursor to modern chemistry, but it was also intertwined with mysticism and the pursuit of immortality. Alchemists believed that they could transform base metals into gold, create potions that could heal all diseases, and even discover elixirs that would grant eternal life. For Mithridates, the allure of alchemy was irresistible. He spent considerable time and resources seeking out the greatest minds of the time, hoping to find a way to protect himself from poison and extend his life. Mithridates' fascination with alchemy and his pursuit of a cure-all antidote to poison eventually led him to a practice that would seem absurd to us today. According to ancient historians, Mithridates believed that gold, which had long been associated with wealth and immortality, could hold the key to his survival. One of the most bizarre elements of his alchemical experiments was his attempt to create a drinkable elixir made from gold. He believed that by consuming gold in liquid form, he could fortify his body against poisons and gain other extraordinary abilities. The alchemists of his time, eager to gain favor with the powerful king, may have indulged his strange requests, contributing to this peculiar pursuit. While the historical details of Mithridates' gold consumption remain unclear, ancient sources claim that he did indeed drink gold in some form, possibly as a part of his alchemical concoctions. He may have dissolved gold in liquids like wine or vinegar, hoping to create a magical elixir that would offer him protection from all poisons and diseases. However, this practice, which might have been meant to grant him extraordinary powers, may have had dire consequences for his health. As the years went by, Mithridates grew more paranoid, increasingly relying on his alchemical experiments to maintain his health and power. But despite his efforts, his empire began to falter. Mithridates had been at odds with Rome for much of his reign, leading to a series of bloody wars with the Roman Republic. His reign, which had once been marked by military victories, began to unravel as Roman forces, led by generals like Pompey the Great, gained ground against him. The king's health, weakened by years of consuming his alchemical potions, began to deteriorate. In the final stages of his life, Mithridates faced an even greater threat: betrayal and defeat. After a series of crushing defeats by Roman forces and the loss of his kingdom, Mithridates was forced to flee his own court. Surrounded by enemies and with his empire on the brink of collapse, the king found himself in a desperate situation. According to legend, in his final hours, Mithridates attempted to take his own life by ingesting poison. However, Due to his previous experiments with alchemy and his constant consumption of poisons and antidotes, the poison had little effect on him. Unable to die by poison, Mithridates ordered his bodyguard to strike him down with a sword, and he was eventually killed. Mithridates' death is often seen as the tragic conclusion to a life driven by obsession and paranoia. His pursuit of alchemy, which he believed would grant him immortality and invulnerability, ultimately led to his undoing. The idea that he drank gold in his attempts to gain protection from poison, combined with his failed suicide attempt, has become one of the most enduring legends of ancient history. Whether or not he actually consumed gold in the manner described by ancient historians remains a matter of speculation. However, the myth of Mithridates and his alchemical pursuits has lived on as a cautionary tale of the dangers of obsession with immortality. In the years following Mithridates' death, his legacy lived on in both history and myth. He was remembered as a brilliant and ruthless ruler, one who fought fiercely against Rome and attempted to use science and mysticism to protect his power. However, his obsession with alchemy, which led him to believe that gold could save him, only highlights the dangers of trying to escape the natural limits of life. Despite all his power, Mithridates could not escape the reality of his mortality, and his tragic end serves as a reminder that no matter how much a ruler seeks to control the forces of nature, they are ultimately bound by the same limitations as everyone else. Mithridates VI of Pontus remains one of the most fascinating figures in ancient history, not only because of his military conquests, but also because of his strange alchemical pursuits. The story of how a king drank gold in the hopes of protecting himself from poison may seem like a fantastical legend, but it is rooted in the historical reality of a man who was both deeply ambitious and tragically flawed. His attempts to defy nature through alchemy ultimately led to his demise, a reminder that the pursuit of immortality and invulnerability can be a dangerous path to follow. Thank you for joining us as we uncovered the story of King Mithridates VI and his obsession with alchemy, which ultimately led to his death. If you found this story as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did, be sure to subscribe to Shadow of History for more mysterious, dark, and untold stories from the past. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. Until next time, stay curious and continue uncovering the untold stories that have shaped our world.